Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Two Plane Sports. Today is November 26th, and some Sooner fans are celebrating. I think we've got one on this program that's fist pumping, and he's so excited that an offensive coordinator that has like top 5 offense in the country is leaving Oklahoma because it's not good enough. And so people are fist pumping and are excited. The reports are that Jeff Lebby is expected to go to Mississippi State. I, for one, am not very excited, to be completely honest with you. I don't think Brandon is either. So we're going to talk about that. And what does that mean about Jackson Arnold? But before we do, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're 82 subscribers away from 6,100. Help us out. It's free and easy, and we go live every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central. And also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And remember, buy a shirt. Once we hit 100 shirts, a free Brent Venables signed football will be given away to one of the 100 people that bought a shirt. Or if you buy multiple, you get multiple entries. So, as I said at the top, Jeff Lebby is expected to go to Mississippi State. The one thing I will say, I saw Lane Kiffin retweet Jeff Lebby's picture where he had socks on that says "We run the SIP" for Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin last night retweeted it, which was pretty darn funny. Anyway, Jose, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know this is like Christmas morning to you. What do you think?
Look, I'm not excited that he's leaving. I'm excited for him. He's clearly always wanted a head coaching job. He's getting what he wanted in the SEC. But it's not like I never said he was a bad offensive coordinator. He just made a lot of bad decisions. It's very different. He's obviously very good at putting points on the board. Situationally is where it was frustrating. And you brought up a good point multiple times. It's his first time as a play caller. But now he's going to go be a first-time head coach after just getting a couple years under his belt as a play caller. We'll see how that goes for him. For Oklahoma, you've got a lot of guys that are already on staff as analysts. I mean, Seth Luttrell, Matt Wells are two of the guys that we first talked about last night that would be possible candidates that are just from within and that are just analysts. Like he could just always promote someone that is a position coach at the moment. So Emmett Jones, Coach B, DeMarco. If Finley doesn't end up leaving, you got a lot of options that are currently on the program. There's going to be a lot of people that are also reaching out about if they can interview for that position. I mean, you've got Washington State. So that's the first one that I've thought about for the last few weeks. If Lebby did leave, he would be a nice hire. The only thing that would be hard to hire someone from outside the program is, can you convince them that they can't fire any of these position coaches? Because that's where you don't want to restart. Lebby leaving, yeah, I get it. It does suck because he did have a top 5 offense this year. But if you have someone on staff that can produce the same quality on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think you're really losing out much. And Luttrell is the one that has shown he can at a significant with talent at a program that would be significantly less than what he was working with here.
Yeah, and well, Brum, so Mark Stoops was expected to be the head coach at A&M. That didn't happen. So maybe we'll get lucky and Jeff Lebby will ultimately stick around. This whole thing will fall through. He won't go to Mississippi State. I think that's the ideal scenario, is Jeff Lebby stays. Because at the end of the day, it's expected. It hasn't happened yet. We could be getting ahead of ourselves. We'll see. But if he does leave, I think seeing the thing about Jackson Arnold that you guys put on Twitter from the Daily yesterday is a huge sense of relief, because that was my immediate reaction. Was I didn't necessarily think he would leave, but like it planted a fear there, because like that fear would have never been there if Jeff Lebby was confirmed coming back. We knew that we would be good as far as Jackson Arnold goes. Seeing that article, I think, is a sense of relief for a lot of fans. I know for a fact me. But yeah, if he does leave, I think Jose brought up a good point in text. And just again, right now, instead of the players, you got to worry about him poaching the guys that we have on staff to go with him to Mississippi State. And I think there's a couple guys that could go. Joe John Finley is a name that I think probably would end up going. But I think if he goes, you got to try to retain as many position coaches as you can. And I think you probably will. I don't feel like a lot of them will end up following him, but we'll see. It's going to get interesting.
It will get interesting, and you're right, Brendan. I mean, there is a chance that that this does not ultimately come to fruition. I think we'll know by this evening, Sunday evening. I mean, I would think they would announce it one way or another, because why drag their feet? I mean, it is what it is, or get out. I mean, Levy yards per game is the number 4 offense in the country and the number 3 scoring offense in the country. Actually, higher than the USC Trojans. I mean, the Trojans, as far as scoring goes, they finished 4th, and Oklahoma finished 3rd, 43.2 points per game. I understand Jeff Lebby in some situations had some shortcomings, but anytime you have literally a top 5 offense in the country, the guy knows what he's doing. And I understand, you have Lincoln Riley and this, you win back-to-back Heismans and everything else, and the bar is set so high. Jeff Lebby was right there outside of a few situational calls. If a couple things went Oklahoma's way, this is totally a different scenario. If Oklahoma converts that first down against Kansas, and if they also go on to beat Oklahoma State and convert on that 4th down, this is a total different feel. This fan base would be devastated. And I understand, and he's learning on the job, and he's progressively gotten better from year 1 to year 2. They have gotten better. And I think the next step would have been even better next year. Whether it was Gabriel or Jackson Arnold, I mean, Lebby would have been better in those situations. And I understand Seth Luttrell is there and everything else, but they're going to have to reinstall a brand new offense. And Jackson Arnold's going to have to learn another offense. It's not totally different, but it is different. The nuances are different, so they have to install everything. So this whole year, there's going to be some rework, unfortunately. And when you're rolling out I guess at this point will be a true sophomore quarterback, there's some drawbacks there.
I mean, and that makes sense. But even if, let's just say Lebby didn't have those mistakes when he did, because I think for the most part, we can look back and say those are definitely play calling issues and not player execution issues. While there were plenty of those player things that happened, he'd probably still be leaving, and the conversation that we're having wouldn't be the same. You guys would still be devastated. I'd probably be maybe a little bit more devastated than I am today, but he'd more than likely be taking a head coaching job somewhere, and that's been an expectation that we've had since he was hired at Oklahoma 2 years ago. Maybe would have delayed him leaving by a year, and Brent Venables could have convinced to get, and again, you guys said it earlier, it may not happen. Maybe Brent Venables convinces the right people to increase that assistant fund, and he can pay him a little bit more to stick around for another year before he takes a head coaching job. But I mean, Brandon and I are reading the Bob Stoops book, and it seems like Brent Venables is taking the same philosophy with his assistants. He's not stopping anyone from getting a head coaching job if that is what they really want. And if Lebby really wants that, I don't think he's going to try to just outbid him. He'll definitely do his best to try to keep him around. And if money's going to be part of that conversation, he'll try to get more money for him. But if Lebby wants to be a head coach, nothing's going to stop him from leaving. And the outcome of this season, I think just affects us as fans and how we're reacting to him leaving, rather than if he was getting the job or not. Fuck, if he wins those 12 games, maybe he's going to take a bigger job. Maybe he's the head candidate for the A&M job rather than the Mississippi State job. A place that has more resources where fans are more excited about winning. Now,
yeah, I'm not saying that it's a shock that he's going to leave. I'm just saying I think people are underestimating the impact, and I really think do what?
People are too excited about it.
It's 100%. It's not like a Mike Stoops with a defense the way it was playing. Like it. I'm just, and I hope I'm wrong, but I just.
Yeah, I mean, if it does happen, I think we all three of us think it's going to be someone on staff. Seth Luttrell as the replacement is the guy that we all think of. But let's just throw some crazy names out there. Is like Cliff Kingsbury. We got a text about that. I was in a group chat that we're in. I think that would be fun. You're a big Ben Arbuckle guy. What other names out there that's not on the staff do you guys see as maybe a possible potential option?
Bring in the similar system of Kendall Briles, right? Keep it in the family. I
Sharon
don't
Moore.
know. Yeah, OU alum.
I think Pete, we're kind of obsessed with trying to get former Oklahoma players or people that started their careers here as coaches to come back, for good or bad. But he's clearly doing a good job in Michigan, and maybe he doesn't get to get full play calling responsibilities, and he wants to prove himself 1 or 2 years like Jeff did, and he comes over before taking a head coaching job somewhere.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly, yeah.
Chip Kelly.
I don't think he's going to
I
get
wouldn't
fired.
be a bad one. If he gets fired, yeah.
If he
Those
gets
reports
fired,
are crazy.
Chip Kelly's coming, yeah.
Yeah. I think the wrong coach in LA, the reports are talking about the wrong guy. I think there's another one.
I'd agree with that too.
They're ending up with the same record, aren't they? 7-5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say is I think the biggest impact, Devon Mitchell off of Twitter, he seemed to be a little upset about the news about Lebby. If Joe John Finley goes with, I think Devon Mitchell potentially could be, someone that might look elsewhere. And also Michael Hawkins. If they bring in someone that doesn't run a similar offense like Lebby, he probably is going to go look elsewhere if it doesn't showcase his skills. So I do think there's a couple people. I don't think it's going to be a mass exodus at all, but I do think there's a couple commits. If a few guys go and a hire doesn't go the right way, I think you could see Hawkins and Devon Mitchell reevaluate. And I know Jackson Arnold at the end of the day, his dad, according, to the Daily, OU Daily, said he's committed to Oklahoma. He plays for OU and this doesn't affect him. But again, if the offensive coordinator comes in and they don't jive and they don't run a similar system, I'm not ruling it out. I mean, I understand. I mean, of course, that's what they're going to say right now because they don't know, one, for sure that Lebby's leaving, and two, who his replacement would be. I'm just saying that there could be some moving parts, and that's just something that people need to be prepared for because Lebby is a top offensive coordinator and a young, smart, up-and-coming coach. And I think kids want to play for him. And I'm not saying it's going to be a ton of kids, but there's some.
I think Devon Mitchell is the one that you really have to worry about. I think you hit it on the head there because he posted a couple days ago that he's 1,000% closed and stuff. But in that post, the first two people he tagged were Coach Lebby and Coach Joe John Finley, and he's got a picture there with Joe John, putting the horse down and stuff. If it seems just based off that tweet that he said no way yesterday with like the crying face emoji or whatever, and then his post with Coach Joe John Finley that he was very close with both of those guys. And we all know these kids commit to coaches just as much as they commit to universities. And sometimes that would be a huge loss, I think. That one would suck.
That one would really hurt because the tight end room depth is non-existent.
Yeah. Maybe if they can somehow – if this all happens, because, again, we could be getting ahead of ourselves here. We could see something.
We could look like goofballs.
You could see something on Twitter in an hour that says Jeff Lebby is confirmed staying, whatever, something changed. But, yeah, if he leaves – maybe if he leaves, I think maybe they got to shift their focus to retaining Joe John Finley. And that might help with just this Devon Mitchell situation.
Possible, because then if he becomes the OC, it's always been described that he has a very similar offensive philosophy to Lebby. So,
yeah,
they really wouldn't probably maybe a little bit of terminology and slightly different play design here and there.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's about all we can talk about because we don't know for sure. It's all reports and whatnot. We might look like goofballs. I hope we do. I hope this evening it's like Jeff Lebby decides to stay home. But some people are probably watching this like, no, get him out of here, and are on Jose's side. So anyway, I don't have anything else. Jose, do you? If not, Brandon, in the video challenge?
Yeah, so the end of the video, obviously, Brum and I don't want this to happen. We want this video to make us look like idiots. We hope this never comes true. Jeff Lebby stays, all good times. But where do you sit on that fence? Do you want Jeff Lebby gone? Because, I mean, let's face it, half the fan base wants him gone, half the fan base wants him to stay. And if he does leave, who do you guys want to be the replacement? I think Seth Luttrell, again, is the most easy answer. It's the one that probably makes the most sense. But we'll see. Who would you guys want in there if Lebby does leave?
It's probably going to be a pretty highly debated topic in the comments below. So, made it this far, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We go live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything is in the description below, and we'll catch you guys next time.